see. Are we live on your end? I can't tell. Mine's still loading. Sometimes it acts really silly.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, it says live.
It says live. All right. I can't tell if we're live yet, but anyway, welcome into tonight's late night edition of After the Game, featuring everyone's favorite former Hoosier, Indy, Charlie Miller from the early 2000s, late 90s, whatever it was. Of course, we love Charlie. We didn't get to have him on Monday. He had stuff going on. He's doing a lot of teaching stuff right now with his fill-in job, but
yeah,
a really exciting basketball game tonight. It's late. I know I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm trying to wake myself up. I've got some coffee here trying to get me woke up for this late night edition of the post-game show. But Charlie, of what you were able to see of tonight's game, what are your thoughts?
First of all, I ain't seen in a while, man. So good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
How you doing, Dana? I think we dictated the pace. I mean, it was played to our style of play. We don't get a lot of fast break points. And we play really good when we get the ball inside the trace. And then our second chance opportunities, Ray stepped up first half, kind of late, early second half. But then Geronimo's play was a spark. And Geronimo, from an insight standpoint, you don't game plan for him. You don't, and now that's the guy who ends up getting 13, 15 points like he did. And that's the difference maker because, I don't think it was not necessarily Miller Kopp or Parker Stewart could get a shot. They just didn't shoot, which you didn't have to because it was second chance opportunities. And then it was Trace. It was old school basketball, point center, give the ball to Trace and get out of the way 4-on-1. And he delivered. I mean, he played a monster game and Wyoming put too much pressure on themselves. You only got two guys who score a lot of points, three guys on the court just kind of standing around. And I saw that from the beginning. I mean, I felt good about this game. I wasn't scared about, they have three guys that can just light it up. They only got two. You got a big and your point guard was tired. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to, back down people. He's tall, but it was just too much he was doing. So I'm just happy that, those guys fought. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Like to say where they were several weeks ago and to what they've done the last week, like that's the difference of a season. But that's also a difference of teaching, motivation, staying positive. Nothing against Archie, but or whoever was before Archie. I mean, that's pretty impressive to say your first year you win, 2 Big Ten games tournament, and then you actually win a playing game. Pretty impressive. I mean, to say the least.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I mean, they're going to have a really tight turnaround. We were talking about this before we went on the air. I mean, we may have a visit from Jim Coyle, but he's got to catch a flight early overnight at 7 a.m. to get out to Portland. And I know the team's got to get out early as well. Charlie, what do you think about this quick turnaround? I know you played back in the days before the play-in game of the NCAA tournament. So what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's the insightful piece to this is that you already know the itinerary. Because if we lose, we're coming back to Bloomington probably the next night. You're not flying back tonight, unless it was probably a stinker. But they're already packed, right? You're not going back to Bloomington. They know, hey, we win. We have to do the same thing. They have to get on the bird, and they got to fly out. And you just hope that you celebrate this one. Get as much you can celebrate out tonight and tomorrow a little bit, and then get back locked in because now the turnaround's quick. You're scouting for a team. You've already scouted for, again, all this stuff is already done. You've already scouted for your potential opponents ahead. Now it's just a matter of fruition. Now we got to get ready for St. Mary's, their style of play, their scores, their schemes, and now we got to lock in as players. So, it's good on the plane this time of year when normally they used to be on the plane going to spring break.
Of course. Yeah, a lot of people on the chat obviously excited about Jordan Geronimo. This
Yeah.
was probably his best game of his career. I know he had a couple good games in the Big Ten tournament, but it's kind of all come to fruition now. He's looking to probably create his own starting role looking ahead to next year. I know we're still in this season, but like he knows what's coming. He knows that development that he's been going through. He knows what he wants to be as an Indiana Hoosier going forward.
Yeah, but the most polite way I can say it, Xavier didn't score the ball normally like he scores the ball, right?
Yeah, of course.
And Geronimo, he made the right plays at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we can all, that sounds great as a coach saying that, but you can't always rely on that. Like he made a three, then he, tip dunk. Those are 50-50 balls. Now, the three-point shot was great. He missed one before. He knocked down the big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
He burned the baseline, I call it. Played big. I mean, he stayed within himself. I don't want to get too far on projection on what next year might look like for him, but I mean, the ceiling's, like Michael Jordan says, to the roof. He puts it all together. You better hope you keep him after next season. Because, he already has, I would say, pro-type jump athleticism. Now it's
Absolutely. He reminds me, I don't know if I've said this before, but somebody else surely has, but he reminds me a whole lot of OG Anunoby from a few years ago when Tom.
Yeah. I mean, he has, it's just a quick bounce. It just, now you got to get more experience. You got to play more. It's not about IQ, it's awareness, it's alertness, it's adaptability. You got to get more of that. And he doesn't have a lot of that, But now, Joey, I'm not gonna go there. I appreciate you, bro. I'm sorry, but no, it wasn't horrible. I mean, the game was played. They played to our style. They really did. We're not really a fast breaking team because when we do, we turn the ball over. The ball's in the right hands. We walk the ball up. They let us do it because they were tired. They let us walk the ball up. And we played the game that we typically play. Race's moving spring was questionable to me. They said it was his left shoulder. I'm like, that was tough, but I thought it was fair. I thought it was fair. It was a little lopsided. It says like 10 fouls to 4, but we were attacking. We were on the rim. They weren't. I mean, they only had 2 guys trying to back people down. And 3 stood around. So I thought that was a fair game officiating.
Were you concerned in the first half when, it didn't seem like until the 5-minute mark in the first half that anybody was able to find any sort of offense? Were you I know it wasn't just Indiana, it was Wyoming as well, but were you concerned for Indiana at that point in the game?
I'm not shaking, John. I never was concerned. I'm being honest with you.
How much of that is just NCAA tournament nerves?
Yeah, but we were the better team. What prepared us, John, was the last 3 games you played against some tough teams.
Yeah.
And that's better than any practice you can have against yourselves and then try to measure that. No, you've been battle tested. You beat 2 teams that several weeks ago beat you, convincingly. You lose at the end, you battled. That prepared us for that. To me, was our practice for what you saw today. That was they played very confident. We couldn't make shots, but I've seen that before. We've seen that before. We've seen that style before. It's just that the teams that we played before, to me, they had more than 2 guys who could put the ball in the hole at any given time. Wyoming only had 2 people that could.
Also, I don't have the stat in front of me, but if I remember correctly, Indiana forced 19 or 20 turnovers.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But a lot of it was Maconato's. A lot of it was him. He was trying to do too much to me. Mm-hmm. But when you're 50% him and EK are 50% of their offense, well, that's their style of play. And it just didn't bode well. It just didn't bode well tonight. He had 10 turnovers, I believe. Well, no, I mean, again, it was nerves. I think it was really the NCAA nerves. You said it a little bit, John. It was nerves. You could tell. Shots I thought that would normally go in would go in. It was nerves. I think they'll be a little bit more calm, play a little more poise. I wouldn't expect two. I would be surprised if again we go to knock down kind of all threes or all kind of threes. I think we were like 2 for 13, 2 for 15, something like that. Was that about accurate, John?
The 3-point shooting tonight was not ideal.
It's like 2
for 13.
Yeah, 2 for 13. So the difference factor was our second chance opportunities with Geronimo. And I think Race doesn't get enough credit in this regard because he gets big putbacks all the time that I think makes a difference throughout the game. Right? There may not be impactful plays, but that to me is what I saw more than anything. Geronimo was the difference maker tonight. Parker Stewart, Miller Kopp, I wouldn't say they didn't get shut down. I didn't really see them look for their shot. Xavier wasn't as creative and going to the basket, but it all kind of worked out because when they pretty much have a lot of points, guess who doesn't have a lot of points? Trace.
It's always got to balance itself out somewhere because, like you were saying earlier, Jordan Geronimo 15 points. It kind of takes away from what Race Thompson normally would have done when he was struggling in this game.
Exactly. And then to me, we talk about it in a locker room. All right, Miller. All right, Parker, get ready. We don't say, hey, you guys had a bad night. No, just get ready. Just get ready. Because we did what we had to do to oust out a play below the free throw line, second chance opportunities, high percentage shots. And that to me was a difference maker. That's why, again, I felt confident all game we were going to pull this out. I didn't know when, but I knew we were going to pull it out.
Let's see where we want to go from here. Someone else, let's go back to the comments a little bit. Someone said, I wish we saw more Tamar Bates like what they've seen in the last few games. A lot of people have been asking for more Tamar Bates, but I think it's kind of like Jordan Geronimo. You're going to see more Tamar Bates when he comes in and starts to let his presence be known. He's got to knock down a couple shots, do more than just create things for himself, because I think the biggest issue with Tamar this season is that I don't want to say that he plays selfish, but he's trying to do too much to prove that he's a good player for himself and not necessarily focusing on those around him.
You don't know how to play, John. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, you know how to play. And I say that too at 45, looking at this, you don't know how to play. You don't know how to play that college game yet. You're a great player, great everything. What you did at IMG, what you did as a high school All-American, you don't know how to play. You're still doing what I call, what to play, but the how part. And the pressing and the show, that'll all simmer once you understand how to play off the ball more. Right? That'll understand how to not go set off ball screens. That'll all come over time. I wouldn't just go off of, he came in highly regarded, but yet this to me is really a blessing because now you give him opportunity to grow. Let him watch the game. Let him. I mean, you're going to get minutes, but you're not going to get a lot of minutes right now. He plays well. Yeah, you're going to get minutes. I mean, it is what it is, but you're going to have to earn that right over time. So it's not like, we're down that he's not playing. No, you got to learn how to play. In games like this, that rotation may be as much as 7 to 8 guys, man.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Tim, I do want to correct you here. They wouldn't play Kentucky until the Elite Eight because if they get to the Sweet 16, they would play the 1 seed, which is Baylor. Kentucky is the 2 seed on the other side of the bracket. So they could eventually meet them, but Indiana's got a lot of work to do before they can even think about playing against Kentucky again. Wyatt says that was a tough physical game. Officiating was different than what we had seen this season, and I don't think the style of game that Wyoming plays suits us well. Props to the guys for fighting like hell. I think I disagree with a little bit of that. I think Indiana does better against teams, and maybe I'm totally wrong about this, but in my opinion, Indiana does better against teams that don't really have big scoring threats. Like the total opposite of me to Wyoming is Iowa, who they just played. You don't want to go against a bunch of shooters, people like Keegan Murray,
that's what I'm saying.
Just pull up from anywhere.
That's exactly right. See, that wasn't a threat. You had your 1 and a 5, who were your top scoring options for Wyoming. Your 2, 3, 4 was just on the court. They shot sparingly. You put them in tough situations to shoot threes and mid ranges. When you play against the Iowas, which I don't want to go into, you play against those type of teams, they have 3 guys that can, get you a basket, that can shoot a great shot, get fouled. And that to me is the scary team. That's why I felt this kind of played in our hands. You had now Graham Ike played a phenomenal game, right?
Outside of the 4 or 5 times that he traveled, he had some weird footwork tonight.
They didn't call it, so we can't talk about it. I mean, it's what it is, right? I think Trace did a little Michael Jackson at the end. I call it.
Yeah,
they let the moonwalk go, and it kind of works out sometimes. But yeah, so for me, we played a good game. It was solid. Miller. I saw somebody's comment. Miller and Parker really didn't shoot much. Who knows why? But it really didn't hurt you. Because now they go, combined 2 for 25 and win by 1. Everybody's like, okay, they shot too much. No, Geronimo came through for you. So Charlie, you think Geronimo's more athletic? Yes. Way athletic. Way. I'll say that in Andre's face. Yes. Yeah, Geronimo is, he's a once in a lifetime athletic player. I mean, and now you give him the learnings of how to jump. Again, I said about, with tomorrow, how to play. Now, how to jump with training and what Tim Graw and those guys are doing. Oh, man, that's scary. That's even scary.
What do you think Indiana is going to have to do to continue to do well in this tournament? I don't just necessarily mean against St. Mary's, but what's it going to take to make a deep run, make it to at least – and I don't know if you consider the Sweet 16 a deep run. That seems to be, over the past 10 years, Indiana's wall, the Sweet 16. I know that would be great for this team, but I feel like when you typically say a deep run, most people are thinking Elite Eight. You're knocking on the door of the Final Four. However you interpret it, what's it going to take for Indiana to make that deep run?
Man, we already made it. I mean, come on. Are you serious? You've been out of the postseason for 6 years. 6 years. It's now 1 game at a time. I'm sorry. Like, there's no
Look who's
way.
butting in. It's our old buddy.
Hey, how you doing, Jim?
Whoo, man.
Awesome. Got a suit on over there.
Oh, man, you got it's NCAA, bro. We got
Nice.
We got to spiff it up. Got to spiff it up, man.
I like it.
Yeah, I bet I'm not wearing this in about 2 hours heading to Indianapolis to get on that plane. Indiana's fortunate now to be heading to Portland. I don't know if it's fortunate. I guess it's fortunate to be heading to Portland.
Yeah.
This game was Las Vegas always has it right. Indiana was only a 4-point favorite in this game, and they just know, man. I know I've missed a lot with you guys, but what did you see was the difference in Indiana's? Was it just simply missing shots? But they seemed to change their offense for this game a little bit. They weren't attacking like they normally were. They were through Trace Jackson Davis, of course, but it just seemed like they were just off.
Well, I was talking about that earlier. This kind of was a game where we played our style of play. It wasn't – I'm not even going to – it was an ugly game. I just thought it was a game that, your dominant scorer, your best scorer scored the ball at a high clip. Your shooters didn't really relieve any pressure because there really wasn't any pressure relieved. But then you had big play from Geronimo that typically we get from Race, but you had somebody step up. Xavier wasn't really getting downhill, but I was telling John, like, we're in the locker room. This is just saying, hey, X, hey, Miller, hey, Parker, get ready for next game. This is not one of those like, okay, you guys were, off. You shot 2 for 13 from 3-point line. No, you're good. Like, we won. We did what we had to do playing game. Let's go. Let's get ready to go tomorrow to Portland, get our minds ready for St. Mary's, and lock in on the scouting report to play. So, I felt confident, Jim, the whole time, to be honest with you. I don't know why. I just felt from the tip off, this is our game. We're going to win this game. Like, you got 2 guys who scored a ball at high clip for Wyoming, but that's not going to be enough to beat us.
No, and now they go off and play a St. Mary's team who, not that I want to just ignore this game, I guess it should stick. But first of all, Trace Jackson Davis, a lot of doubts toward the middle end of the season, questioning his All-American status, and then we saw him what he did during the Big Ten tournament, and that play continued here tonight. They had no answer for him whatsoever. Now, Ike was a problem, or Ike, however you say his name, I don't know. He was a bit of a problem, but Maldonado, they did a great job. Parker Stewart did a good job, because there were several times where they were just trying to get him to go one-on-one with Parker Stewart under the basket.
That's what I'm saying.
He stopped him most of the time. I remember he scored once, but he did a great – I got to give him credit. He did a great job on him.
And that's why, for me, it won't make the stat sheet, but that was the difference on Parker getting shots. I'm expanding so much on the defensive side. Forget that. I'm stopping one of their second best scorers. I'm making it tough for that guy to score. So to me, I think that was a big difference.
Absolutely. And of course, Race Thompson, normally a bigger part of things, but got into a little foul trouble tonight, but it wasn't there. But man, they've got to get the shooting thing. They just can't do that. I mean, it was fortunate that they were playing a Wyoming team, because they were long stretches where they weren't scoring, and they turned Wyoming over 13 times in the first half. But we're only up 5. That's a little scary, but it's a win in the NCAA tournament, and anybody can beat anybody this thing, and that's why they play the games. So looking forward now to going out to Portland to see them play a very talented St. Mary's team, a team that plays the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga. And that's probably about the only team that Gonzaga really plays during the conference season.
Mm-hmm. But this to me is what I was also telling John earlier. What you've done to not, to go back, but what they've done over the last 3 games, that's kind of helped them, I think, prepared them to play like they played tonight. And now you win after that devastating loss against Iowa. Now you take that momentum where I think focus and concentration will be a little higher, pay attention to the details will be a little higher. Those guys get locked in, Parker, Miller. I think Xavier's gonna be back to where he's playing. A little jitters, nerves. It happens to everybody, but it really didn't hurt you tonight. It didn't hurt you offensively.
Looking over at Trace Jackson Davis, 29 points, man. 10 of 16, 9 of 11 at the free throw line. 9 of 11 at the free throw line. How many times last season was he just abysmal at the free throw line? Just killing it. And now he's done a hell of a job improving that.
I mean, that's the difference of coaching, though. I mean, I'm not nothing against, Coach Miller, man, but that's mindset, culture, bought in. Those guys are committed. That's a difference. I mean, that's a huge difference.
Indiana 2 of 13 behind the 3-point line tonight, Charlie. I don't think they can do that in the NCAA tournament and beat a team like St. Mary's.
No, you can't go. That's what I'm saying. And you can't have that be locker room talk, tight closeouts. Those guys aren't going to shoot the ball. You can't have that. You got to be able to knock down some shots. And, you hope that they game plan for sagging going to screens, and we'd start knocking down shots to get some good momentum going.
Miller Kopp played 21 minutes, didn't score, only took 2 shots. So it seems like he was either in there more to facilitate, or Wyoming just did not allow that to open up. But he's not. They could sure use. That's one of the shooters. So that's one of the big problems was coming from. And Parker Stewart, like I said, he played great defense, so not going to get on him too much. He played 37 minutes. 37 minutes. So that's why Mike Woodson had him out there. And he scores only 4 points. He only took 6 shots, too. So he wasn't shooting the ball a lot. He was more focusing on defense.
Well, the shot he made, that mid-range shot, I think is a good counter for him. When they run you off the line, that 3-point line, a good one dribble, solid pull-up, he knocks that shot down to me. That's the shot I think he needs to focus on as a counter, as almost a bait. Bait and switch. I show him a 3, you come up, I pull up on that mid-range. Now guess what you can't do? You can't sag and help against Trace, right? And I think that's going to be the biggest difference next game. If you can figure out how to get those guys, Miller and Parker, get them going to really open up, not being able to double team. I mean, we might be talking again post game against St. Mary's. Like, wow, another win.
And I know that it is a lot to ask this team to play 3 tough games in the Big Ten tournament, then turn around and come here a few days afterwards, and now they're probably already close to being ferried to a plane right now. I mean, they do that stuff quick. I wish I was on there with them. It saved me some time. But how, as a former player, this is a lot to ask. They're going to be in Portland tomorrow for pressers, practice, and then play on Thursday. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, as a player, how do you get past that? You got to do it. I mean, it's like Michigan. Michigan won the Big Ten tournament a few years ago when they had that plane wreck, and I think they played all the way. Weren't they in the first? Didn't they play the first day? I think that thing. Right. So it's not like Woody says it all the time. Man, they're 19, 20 years old.
Right, and they're not thinking twice about it. But the manifest, the itinerary is already made. Hey, we lose. We're going back tomorrow morning anyway. You're not hopping back. I mean, it's only a couple-hour flight. I can only believe in Dayton. But you go back. You get as much celebration as you can right now on the bus, talking about it, to then get it out, because tomorrow, you get to relax a little bit, probably on that plane ride to Portland. And then when you get off that plane, you're right back after the pressers, after all that stuff. You've already broke down St. Mary's, film wise. You already done that. Yeah. Now it's just a matter of introduce that to the players, right?
Yeah.
Coaches they've already done that.
And you have to do that during the NCAA tournament anyway. Once you play that first game, if you've got another game coming back, so that's not as big an issue as just the being able to get rest on the plane and rest the leg.
And hoping you get rest, because you're coming off of you just done something on a group that you hadn't done in 6 years.
How important was that, getting that done right there?
Oh man, that's why. Again, I don't know if we're talking enough about that, because it's just kind of like so much going on. They won the playing game. They lose a buzzer beater. It's like so much going on that you're like desensitized to. Wait a minute, we haven't gone in 6 years. Wait a minute, we just won a playing game. Wait a minute, we're on our way to Portland to play as a 12th seed. Whoa, like, huh? I mean, so it's like, I'm hoping that they're excited about this, and this is a big feat. This is a really big feat for those guys.
Absolutely.
To play. I mean, that's whatever happens from here, that's a really big feat. And what they've done the last 4 or 5 games has been tremendous.
I don't bring this up to get ahead of ourselves. Tim points out that if Indiana were to make the Sweet 16, they could be playing Kentucky. Ironically, the last win they had in the NCAA tournament, 2016, was over Kentucky. So a little irony there. And the NCAA always does a great job of producing ironic matches. They are the matchmaker, man. They just are.
It would be in the Elite Eight. We brought that up earlier. They're on
Okay.
the other side of the. Just to clarify that.
Well, yeah, but actually, I was just more importantly talking about that was Indiana's last win was over Kentucky.
Yeah,
they
man.
lost to North Carolina.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing to know Chris Reynolds now is a part of the NCAA committee. You know, obviously Chris Reynolds, former player at Indiana sports. I think he's the athletic director at Bradley. I saw him on TV on the Selection Sunday. So, you know, it's pretty cool to know, again, our hands on this, but yet to see us back in the spot like this is pretty cool.
And I think that, you know, I saw a lot of comments tonight on Twitter during the game, and it was like, boy, what have you done for me lately? Because it was back to bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, man, it's just I haven't played an NCAA tournament game, but you have, and it's just different. It doesn't matter who you're playing, because we've seen it happen so many times. Why is that, Charlie? Why? And I know anybody can beat anybody in this, but why is it that a team like Indiana, who's pretty decent and has competed very well in the Big Ten, but they got taken, you know, to the end by a team from Wyoming?
Well, again, you don't know each other. I mean, you're almost playing like this is a third season. It's almost like a preseason, because you don't know each other. You're trying to also digest. Think about this. You're trying to digest a lot of information, and you're cramming it. It is what it is. You know, Wyoming's best players, the best scorers, their deficiencies, their go-tos. You know, if you're taking any notes on that, you watching film on it. You got scout team doing things that Wyoming's doing. I mean, and now you get a chance to play it. It's one thing to look at it on paper. Now you got to make those adjustments in the game, and it's just not the same. And you start making in-game live action adjustments. So it's a different animal. Playing against St. Mary, you know, so what they play against Gonzaga, they're gonna be shocked, right? They're gonna be shocked when they play against us. Charlie, I told my mom no more prank calls.
I think actually because of this one before that, he said that if Indiana were to make the Sweet 16, he's going streak into the quad.
Oh wow!
A little throwback to daggone, I can't think of the movie. Anyway,
Old school.
There you go, Will Ferrell. Yeah. Come on, honey, they're all doing it. Yeah, right. We interrupted you.
No, you're fine. No, I just feel it's different, you know. And now again, you know, scouting for, you know, St. Mary's, right? You're not gonna really practice too much tomorrow. You're gonna walk through a lot of actions. So you know, now you're gonna have to face it real time and make adjustments. Maybe a first quarter timeout or first half timeout to really see, okay, here's what they do. We got to make that adjustment right now, because this going off film is tough.
And how many times have people watch the NCAA tournament team, and I don't care what seed it is, and it goes down to the wire. It's about to start happening. Turn your TVs on Thursday. You're going to see upsets Thursday. I promise you. So they played poorly, but they just didn't hit shots, really. I don't know that did they play poorly or just not hit shots, and it was just a bad match. I don't know if it's bad matchup, but either they didn't have the matchup set correctly.
Yeah, we just missed shots. We didn't take enough to really make them, and we missed a lot of shots. They missed a lot of shots too. Right, they missed a ton of shots.
Dude, both teams were horrible. I know. I sent out a tweet,
and to me, your top scorers, not your best players, your top scorers are the I would say 3 players showed up more than anything. Geronimo helped us. It was Maldonado, it was EK. They're 50% of Wyoming's offense every game, and then you had Trace that typically scores 20 plus. You know, only person who I would say was off was Xavier. You know, he really didn't score the ball at a good clip today. So it was just one of those games. But again, to me, the saving grace was Geronimo. He helped big time.
I think the stats is actually wrong. Or stat sheet that the official stat sheet, it has Indiana as being 26 of 62 from the field, hitting 42%, which that's not correct. But Wyoming hits 20 of 46 for 43%. So both teams got the percentage up, but not in the 3-point shooting, man. Indiana, again, like I said, 2 of 13. Wyoming with a little bump there, but Indiana just too much inside. They just could not stop anything Indiana had.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's going to be the difference maker.
But that's not going to be a problem, though. I mean, we're jumping ahead now, but why not?
Well,
if you're talking about Gonzaga, that'll be a problem.
Well, think about this too. Wyoming probably didn't game plan for Geronimo.
Oh no!
See my point? Like that's a big deal. You know, not to go back. I remember we played a game.
Like the Purdue game. It's like the Purdue game when Trace Jackson Davis spent most of his time on the bench.
You didn't game plan for him. And I think that was the biggest difference. You let him run wild. And he is a great player around the rim. And then he had confidence, knocked down that big 3-point shot. It was all needed. Right? So now he's going to get game plan for it. Because some second chance opportunities, as athletic as he is, now he's going to be game plan for it.
And to have a guy like that come off the bench, or they keep saying next man up, and they keep getting somebody to do something. Right. That is one of the most important things that any team can have, because you have to have faith in the guys and it not be Trace Jackson Davis every time, or not be Xavier every time. It's got to be somebody else who can step up, and whether it's Miller Kopp in the next game or Parker Stewart with more defense and somebody hits some shots, but it's somebody that has to continue to step up, because they're going to be game planning for Trace Jackson Davis, I promise you.
Yeah, and you got it. I mean, again, one of the things I can say, just if I'm game planning against Indiana, we had a better start the second half this game. I'm game planning, hey, look, they're not really a good team coming out. You got to really take it to them in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So I think it's about winning both halves. And then again, your guys who typically contribute from 3-point lane, they gotta make shots. We gotta take them. We didn't take enough to miss. We really didn't. We gotta take more shots. Come on,
Steve asked if do you need the players think about that so much the first time in 6 years? I don't think they think of it. Trust me, that's one of the first things that Trace Jackson Davis talked about. How important it was for him to be a part of getting Indiana back into the NCAA tournament. So it is of grave importance. And hell yes, as much as times these guys spend on social media, hell yes, they're thinking about it, because
you don't
it's all out there.
That group. You don't want to be a part of that group that, again, say, hey, look, I played here 4 years, 3 years, and we didn't go. You don't want to be part of that.
Nope. So, and now they get to continue.
They get it exactly, and you won a crucial game. And again, I'm not going to say, this is enough, but like, man, this was this gravy, right? Was this the steak? What is this, right? So I'm happy for those guys.
Got to represent, Brian. Thank you, my friend. This was a big win for the program, for Indiana, for recruiting, for so many things. For this program, for Mike Woodson. I hate to mention it, but today is the 1-year anniversary when Indiana fired Archie Miller, and it's the day they get back into the NCAA tournament and win. It's just irony. I mean, it's ironic. It doesn't mean anything other than the irony, and we're in Dayton, of all places. So it's kind of hard not to mention that.
Yeah.
So moving forward now, on to Portland. I'll be on a plane at in about 6 hours.
Yeah, man.
So,
well, I know you got to drive, man. Hopefully, just get there safely and.
Oh yeah. Luckily, I'm not driving to Portland. No, luckily I'm not driving to Portland.
Yeah. That's right.
I've done that before. That's no fun. Friends used to live in Portland. Well, you know what? We might as well go ahead and wrap it up, because hopefully we're going to have more to do in 2 days. and we'll be able to do this again, Charlie.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, man. You're always the best, man. Looking forward to it as always. I think thanks to John, of course, for getting this thing started, and most importantly, big thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Of course, don't forget about our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant. Make sure you stop by there in Bloomington and check them out. We've got plenty more, hopefully, coming up this week. I'll be back tomorrow morning to do the show. I forgot about that, too. So Indiana Sports Beat Radio on tomorrow morning somehow. From the plane or wherever. Get it figured out, man. But we're cut it off now. I cannot thank you guys enough. Like I said, been a great night here at the University of Dayton Arena in Indiana. Now on to Portland, Oregon to play St. Mary's in, I guess, the opening round of the NCAA. I don't know what they say anymore. It's
right.
Second round. I don't even know what they call it anymore.
Right.
First round to me. But Charlie, I thank you, brother, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you. And thanks everybody else again. You guys go out and have a great, safe night, and we will see you. I will see you on the radio.